Welcome to another episode of Your Pleasure Incorporated into Daily Living. This is your host, Ellen Nicholas Rathbone, sensuality consultant and humanitarian, a person who believes in great pleasure and wants us to keep it human because there are just so many temptations out there to mechanize ourselves, to numb ourselves, and to rely on other artificial means to find some kind of satisfaction. So tonight's episode is on sex and alcohol. And that is a very crazy combination. Sex is the most natural thing in the world, and it can be a whole lot of fun, and it can be a very, very healthy expression of energy. If it is combined with alcohol, it can be a little bit more lively. It can be a little bit less inhibited, or it could just be erectile dysfunction and lubrication difficulties. There's a tipping point with everyone that, as you're growing up, we have to learn where our point of no return is when it comes to alcohol. I've spoken to young ladies that have told me that they drink to the point of blacking out. Now, how is that supposed to be fun if you don't know what's going on? You've basically just given someone the keys to the kingdom and said, here, I trust you. I'll be blacked out. Don't fuck me. I mean, that's ridiculous. You know it's going to happen. You're giving up your power. And for men, even though it might loosen you up and help you feel a little bit more confident or a little bit more assertive or something, there comes a point where it can actually cause ED, erectile dysfunction. So if a guy is drinking regularly, at one point it definitely catches up to him and definitely causes long-term erectile dysfunction. So here you are thinking you're drinking and it's fun and it's going to be fun and exciting and it's going to be a party. And instead of it being a party, there's a disconnect between your brain and your genitals. For women, when they drink too much, all right, there is that chance that they can black out. But even if they don't black out, there is the chance that they're not going to have very intense orgasms, if any orgasm at all, because there's a disconnect. That's what alcohol does. It disconnects your brain from your genitals. And so the influence that would normally happen by being excited by your partner, by a fantasy, by the touch, by the smell, by all the things that are intoxicating to your senses has been deadened by alcohol. Now, I'm not going to be a hypocrite and say that you should never, never, never drink. That's ridiculous. I mean, alcohol is everywhere. It's in television, it's in movies, it's in advertisement. Everybody that's hip and cool does it, except they're not really talking about how it has to be drunk by people who are going to be responsible for themselves. And it's really an adventure, or a journey, I should say, on self-discovery. I remember back in college, I drank on the last day of college. It was first I went to the political science department and I drank red wine, and then I went to the theater department and I drank white wine, and then I went to the school pub and I drank red wine. Well, you have to know, I was so drunk. I was paying homage to the porcelain god, and it was terrible, absolutely terrible. I couldn't even smell alcohol for the longest time after that because it was just so repulsive to my body. So I got to the point where I realized that that's not how I want to feel. I don't want to feel nothing. I don't want to give up control of myself, of my senses, to someone else and hope that they won't take advantage of the situation. Because, when you're loose, like a long-necked goose, You can end up doing things that can come up and bite you in the ass. And one of them is that rather than have normal sexual activity, they think, well, she's so loose, she's so out of it, relaxed, that I can even have anal sex with her. And see, that's where there's problems. Drinking does not give a person a license to screw you in as many different ways as possible. And that's what it does. For women, it sort of gives the guy the license to just go ahead and do whatever he wants to do. Now, if the guy's the one that's doing the drinking, it might cause him to have erectile dysfunction, as I was mentioning. So he'll have difficulty getting an erection. And then if he does get an erection, what's going to happen if he's had too much to drink? He gets this terrible case of whiskey dick. In case you don't know what that is, it's when he feels no sensation, he still has an erection, but no matter what he does, he can't come. It's terrible. How frustrating must that be? So the moral of the story is, yes, there is alcohol. And yes, we are going to include it in our lives, but find out where your tipping point is and try not to go past that. Have a little respect for your liver. Have a little respect for your kidneys. Have a little respect for your brain. I'm not saying that it's going to cause irreparable damage with one drink. Absolutely not. But if you depend on this stuff to feel good and to have the ambition or the desire to have sexual fun, then you're always going to be depending on it. And that's no way to enjoy the most incredible part of your life, which is your sex life. Your sex life is all your senses firing at 100%. Everything smells better. Everything tastes better. Everything looks better. Everything feels better and tastes better, because your senses are alive and receiving the nectar of your partner. Now, if your senses have been dulled by the fact that you've been drinking alcohol, then again, the most beautiful part of our lives as human beings is our sexual play and our sexuality and all of the benefits that can give us. If you combine it with irresponsible drinking to the point where a woman blacks out or a guy is so sloppy he can't get it up or doesn't even know what he's doing, it can be dangerous. So in life, there's balance, and that's what we want. We want balance. We want balance between fun times and being responsible. We want fun time. We want balance between what our body needs and what we want to give it. I mean, we all contribute to our health or our ill health. If I've said it once, I've said it 100 times. Every single one of us is the end result of every single choice we've ever made. So whether you're overweight or whether you're a drunk or whether you're a drug addict or whether you're lonely, it's because you've made choices that have put you in this situation. And can you make different choices? Absolutely. It's a change of mind. It's a change of heart. But you have to realize that there is a little bit of a problem there, and you have to make a different choice. What did Albert Einstein say? He said, doing the same thing over and over again and expecting different results is the definition of insanity. So thinking that you can drink to drunkenness so that you don't even know which way is up, so that you puke your guts out. Ooh, how sexy is that? Wow, after you drink and you puke some more, not sexy. Not sexy, not fun, doesn't feel good, doesn't look good. So here you are trying to have one of the most exquisitely wonderful experiences, which is the sexual union with someone that you care about. And instead of it being phenomenal. It goes by in a blur. You ache the next day. Your body is hurting. You got a headache that just won't quit. And, what's the point of that? So I'm not trying to say that we shouldn't drink. I'm saying that there is a point where we have to learn. Everybody has their own point of how much is enough so that it's kind of fun, kind of juicy, but you haven't gone past the point. Because quite honestly, women do not need lubrication difficulties, and men do not need erectile dysfunction. And if you've had too much to drink, that's exactly what you get. So we're talking about a lifetime of that. But, the lifetime also is problems with all of the other functions of your body, your brain, your liver. Cirrhosis of the liver is not or fatty liver, alcoholic fatty liver. Those are no joke. And that's a lifetime of treating alcohol as if it's an aphrodisiac. It's not an aphrodisiac. Actually, it's the opposite of an aphrodisiac. It's a depressant. You don't want to be depressed when you're making love. You want to be happy. You want to be excited. You want to be enthusiastic. You want to be into it. And if you can't see straight, or you can't feel what's going on, or you're too tired, or there's a disconnect between what your brain wants and what your genitals can do, there's frustration going to be there. So be nice to yourself. If you're going to have a drink, have one. Don't have 6. Don't drink the bottle. It's not good for you. And, have a little respect for yourself. Here you are having what should be a phenomenal time, a mindful, sensitive togetherness with someone that you care for. And if you've had too much to drink, it's over in no time at all. And you're feeling sore in places that you didn't even know existed on your body. And you're kind of asking what happened. And a lot of times, 9 months later, you're like, baby time. So STDs, rape, aggressive sex, all kinds of negatives can happen if you rely on alcohol while you're having sex. And that's not the whole point. The point of sex is to actually enjoy sex. All right? So be nice to yourself. Be good to your body. Everything in moderation. That's what my uncle once said. I said, what's the key to long life and happiness? He said, everything in moderation. That includes alcohol. I mean, I think alcohol was a mistake of invention, quite honestly. Right now, it's $1 billion industry. They have whole shows about it, bar rescue, where they're rescuing these bars and saving these people, and they can, now they can continue to sell alcohol to all their guests. But it's really a very, very dangerous commodity. I don't care how glamorized it is. And it can be fun if you have control and if you are mindful of what your body can handle. But it also can be extremely dangerous. And I'm not saying this, I'm sure you all know this, but it's important to know. And it's important to remember, you're the steward of your own body. You're the captain of your own ship. And if you give over your power to someone else by drinking so much that you can't say no, or you can't resist because you're just so floppy that it doesn't matter, you're setting yourself up for rape. You're setting yourself up for abuse. You're setting yourself up for STDs, anal sex. Any kind of atrocity can be done if you're drunk. So, learn what your limits are. Love yourself enough to know that you don't need that. And in fact, if you are seeking pleasure, you want to avoid that. I really think that sex is one of the most beautiful things that a human being can experience. It's healthy for you. It's great for your heart. It's great for your brain. It gives you a feeling of being loved. And especially when you're with someone who resonates with you, who is taking the time to spend with you so that both partners are satisfied. But none of that happens when there's alcohol involved. It's usually over very, very quickly. It's usually a mistake in how it happens. There's usually no orgasms to be had. If he has one, it's again a very mild orgasm. It's just more of an ejaculate than anything else. The intensity of orgasm is definitely deadened or lessened by the effects of alcohol. So here you have the potential to have mind-blowing sex, and instead of having mind-blowing sex, you're just blowing your mind with alcohol. I hope that this little talk has given you a little food for thought. I'm not trying to say that we shouldn't drink at all. I'm saying that everything in moderation. Take care of yourself, do your Kegels, love yourself enough to know that you deserve pleasure, and that the pleasure that you're seeking is by being responsible for yourself, knowing your body, knowing your limits, and sticking to them, because it's just too easy to let it all get taken away from you when you give your power over to alcohol. So thank you so much. I hope you enjoyed this talk. Please visit my website. The streamer is down there. It's actually, you could go there just by going to yourpleasure.com, and it'll take you right to that website. There's lots of topics there about all kinds of sexy, sensual pleasure keywords. And if you have any questions, I love to answer questions. I love them for discussion and for talking about a subject that we really need to talk about. I'm very fearful that technology is taking over our sex lives. I mean, it used to be that you went to dances and you went to parties and you went to clubs, and you know, there were cotillions and there were all kinds of social gatherings where men and women would meet each other, and then they would talk and they would kind of get a feeling for each other, heart to heart, back and forth. Now technology is superseding all that. People are meeting online via the internet. How do you know how somebody smells via the internet? You don't. How do you know how they actually feel? You don't. So this program every single week is to encourage people to seek real relationships, whether that relationship is with someone that you already know, or whether you're open to meeting people. I mean, seek the relationships for real, where you're actually standing in front of someone. Don't be shy. Say hello. Start talking to people. Meet people. And don't live your life in fear. Live your life with respect for yourself, with responsibility towards yourself and towards other, with care, and with knowledge of yourself. You put all those elements together and you could truly say you love yourself. And loving yourself is really, really important. So I hope you enjoyed this episode of Your Pleasure Incorporated into Daily Living. I hope you're doing your Kegel exercises every single day. You want to get up to 5 minutes of Kegels, which is an equivalent of 300. And that's for men too. So next week, we'll have another phenomenal discussion on pheromones and the scent of desire. If you like this program, please like and subscribe to it so that you can be in on the topic every single week. If you have questions, email them to me at ypi69@hotmail.com. I would be happy to answer those questions. And if you have any topics that you think would be good to discuss on this program, send those topics to me. It's more than my pleasure to talk about things that are of concern to my listening audience. Thank you so much for joining me. This is your host, Ellen Nicholas Rathbone, signing off. Love you all. Namaste. Be good to yourselves. Love yourselves. Be responsible for yourselves. And don't forget your kegels. Bye for now.